I can't think of a composer of his generation whose music is so eagerly awaited by so many people in so many places.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats in the auditorium.
Right from when he was 18, he seems to have this talent for making sounds that sound completely fresh. As if the piano was waiting to make these sounds and had to wait 250 years, and there it's allowed to make them now. And I think that's very rare, certainly rare in a young composer.
I think anyone who can write that kind of piece, whether unwittingly or not, has to be an artist for our time and an artist to whom we have to pay heed.
Here is a composer who is what's still in his 30s, and he has produced 2 operas.
Powder Her Face, his first chamber opera, which is an extraordinary piece, and The Tempest more recently, are major works, there's no doubt about that.
Big orchestral pieces, chamber music, piano pieces. A composer of extraordinary invention and diversity.
I'm Stephen Newbold, I'm Artistic Director of Birmingham Contemporary Music Group. We're here today rehearsing Stravinsky's Les Noces for the Barbican's Traced Overhead Festival of Thomas Ades's music.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's correct. She has a...
We're rehearsing here with a star lineup of 4 pianists, including the Labec sisters, BCMG percussionists, and the amazing Pokrovsky Ensemble, its Russian folk choir. The Traced Overhead Festival will first of all show us the immense variety and breadth of Tom's music. And I think it'll also show Tom's multifaceted nature, not just as a composer, but also as a great conductor, a great pianist, and crucially as a brilliant programmer as well. I think it's always illuminating to see and hear a composer's work in the context of other composers, other pieces that have been important to them. His music draws on such a wide range of references from past and present, and the composers that he admires are a very particular choice, it's a very personal choice.
This Stravinsky piece I knew from a very young age, and I used to kind of imagine somehow performing in it. I used to play percussion as well, and I've played in it in the piano parts, with Simon Rattle in fact. And the only thing I haven't ever done is sing in it, but maybe that'll be kind of the next.
And it's interesting that Les Noces, a piece written when Stravinsky was in his early to mid-30s, which is what Tom is now, is fascinating to put beside Tom's early music.
This piece, Les Noces, is completely original. You can't really see any sources in other music, it just comes out of the blue.
Stravinsky's Les Noces is a depiction of a Russian peasant wedding, and it's based on Russian folk material, songs, dances, religious chants.
I'm sure that he had this noise in his head of the kind of voices and simple kind of kitchen percussion instruments they had. So there's this thing they're playing tonight in the peasant songs, if I may call them. This piece is the kind of has a relation to them, like you know, a great scherzo by I don't know, Bruckner or somebody has relation to Viennese street music. We've been incredibly lucky because we have been able to bring over from Moscow an extraordinary group of people called the Pokrovsky Ensemble. Some of them are more trained musicians than others, but they do it completely accurately. I never know which one's going to sing a solo or which one isn't. In the score there's 4 soloists in the chorus, but the characters all mixed round, and you were never supposed to see the soloists anyway, because they would have been in the dance pit. When they started to sing it with the instruments, suddenly the piece kind of just snapped into focus. It made us a new sound that I'd never heard before. in any piece, and I suddenly thought, this is what he must have had in mind. And it's this fantastic, it's like a huge mechanical orchestron or something.
The use of the pianos in the score, he uses 4 pianos and percussion. It gives it a great sense of bells. These religious sacred instruments. At the same time, it's also very modern sound. It sounds like machines. It's kept to a driving pulse throughout this. So it's a mechanical piece, at the same time, it's a very ancient, sacred piece.
It describes a peasant wedding, but it's not like watching the actual ceremony. It gives an impression of being there and the kinds of songs that are being sung and the kinds of things that are being said. You do have, you know, the bridegroom and the bride, although they're not always the same singer.
In peasant terms, a wedding is a cause for joy. It's a celebration, of course, but it's also a lament. You're lamenting about 2 people who are giving up their virginity. You're lamenting the breakup of the original family. And so there's sorrow there at the same time as the joy.
There's something very raw about it. It's the most naked and, in a way, most emotional of all his pieces, despite the fact that it's like a huge machine. Somehow I think it's one of the most deeply felt pieces that he wrote.
I think that audiences will continue to find new things in his work for many, many years to come, and I think he will be one of the survivors when the tide of another century washes out.
Unusually exciting event, this.